All right, let's get started. you know, you guys don't know what a pleasure it is to go to bed savoring the thrill of chasing success. That's what I do every day. At one time, I went to bed planning, to create a path for tomorrow. But these last few months, I've been going to bed realizing I'm already on my path for tomorrow. And it really makes a major difference in how you take that breath before you fall asleep at night. I'm telling you, take my advice. You can do whatever it is you want to do in life. But whatever you choose to do, make sure it's lofty enough. It's grand enough that it makes you feel 40 feet tall. This year, I'm eliminating everything that has to do with my past sales information. And I'm starting off fresh for 26. First off, I'm adding counseling uh, to the curriculum at SWU. One-on-ones with me is something all my students should take advantage of. That's the way I think we should roll, in 26. If I want to address individuals' problems, I think we should really start taking advantage of the one-on-one. You see, there's a lot of dudes who claim to be able to tell you how to catch, who claim to be able to teach you what to do and what to say. And they tell you all kinds of things except how to catch. You don't need them anyway, but it'll be easiest or easier if you had the correct tools. So, what is a tool? A tool is something you can use to assist you in all your endeavors. What you get with my tools are ideas and templates on real live conversations that you can have that'll work for you. You don't necessarily need to say exactly what I'm saying, but you do need to speak in the manner that I'm speaking. What's more, my tools is going to tell you the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why what you're doing will work. Now, to hear something about how to catch is one thing, but to be able to see the reasoning behind what's being said, that's a whole nother level of understanding. You're able to see the W's: who, what, when, where, and why. You're able to see it going on. In being able to see that is going to result in you no longer having fantasies. They're going to be realized. They're going to become realities. This is what you get in each tool you buy. In the reality of it is there is no fucking detox center. There's nowhere for you to go to detox from this goddamn dope you about to get hooked on. My confidence course is helping me right now. It is. It's helping me as I continue traveling on my journey. that I had no idea I would be traveling at this point in my life. But if I didn't understand that the journey continues long after I think or I thought I have arrived, I wouldn't be ready for this. But I do think that the journey continues. I believe that. What do I tell you? ABPs, which means always be playing. And you'll be ready. Because if you ain't playing, you're going to get played. I face my fear of not, reaching the level of notoriety that this venture SWU. I faced it by attacking it with all I have. There is no giving in to fear. Oh, hold on. Hey Siri, call a radio show.
Calling radio show.
Oh shit. Hey Siri, call radio show.
Calling radio show.
There you go. Yeah, I'm still not hearing it. Don't really worry about calling in. You can ask questions in the queue. I will answer them. But let me get back to what I was talking about. On the ABP tip, if you're playing all the time, you won't be getting played. There is no giving in to fear to me. I faced my fears a long time ago by attacking whatever was scaring me or having me have fear by attacking with everything I have. So, there is no giving in to it. Although I experience fear a lot of times during any given month, my course has prepared me for the critical thinking that's going to be involved. And I'm telling you, I am realizing that the initial anxiety that you, me, and a lot of people experience, that is only natural because of how important whatever it is I'm doing is to me, to my future. And you know what that knowledge does for me? It makes me know that I'm going to be my usual fly self, regardless of what stage I'm on. And I'm going to handle whatever audience I have like a seasoned veteran. Because my whole life has been important to my future. The first few lessons at SWU is like elementary school, and you learn all the basic things that you're going to learn. It's all up to how fast could you address losing confidence leading to so-called fear. Trisma, whatever your fucking name is, Trismegistus, 3 times great. Okay, man, could I address losing confidence leading to so-called fear? Bro, that's what you be scared of, what that question that you're asking. You have fear because you don't have confidence, because you're not going to lose your confidence and it's going to lead you to fear. Some things are going to perplex you, but you're not going to lose confidence. What you're going to do is figure the shit out with the confidence that you've learned to use, that you learned that you have, that you didn't really know you had until you learned Now, uh, it's all up to how fast or slow you want to go because you do this shit at your own pace. Now that the first lessons are like that. The next lessons are like junior high school, where you learn what to do with the things you learned, and you learned how to use them to their ultimate. And you do that by using what you learned to do the lessons, the next set of lessons. Now, the last few lessons, you show that you know how to own what you learned. And you do that by taking your butt out and showing the world what you learned because this is not done in private. You might think it's private because it's just done online with me, but getting game is to be done in public. So you want to expose that you have this motherfucking game. Wouldn't it be a great thing if you was able to be part of starting the elementary school? Now, especially with all the knowledge that you gained about education. See, that's what you do at SW. Get knowledge. None of the history or math problems you're used to learning. We start over with a rebirth of you. You better jump on this because, life is giving you a do-over. You never get do-overs in life. You're getting one here. The one-on-one consultations are like an after-school program where, you could ask questions about something you didn't quite understand. It's where you can get a better understanding of the course. I don't know what all should be included, but I do know I'll be, it'll be your time and I'll be there to express what my thoughts are on any of your concerns. Shit always going on. And I was talking with this dude. I was talking to him about my plans. I had been talking to him for 10, 15 minutes. When he interrupted me and said, Rosebud, you're a selfish, full of yourself, conceited bastard. I didn't get mad at him. I looked at him and as I was reaching for some Kleenex, and I handed him the Kleenex and said, wipe your glasses off so you can see. I thought you could see that goddamn shit when you started talking to me. And I said that to him because most people misunderstand me. I know at one time all I talked about was pimp this, pimp that. I might act like I'm hard or whatever, or tough. But that's because life makes you that way. And that's who the fuck I am. I couldn't very well scream and tell you about being a welder because I couldn't tell you which burn is best to use on aluminum. What would that would be like a football player trying to tell you how to take a hit that a linebacker finna put on you. I mean, not a football player, excuse me, telling you that. A football player can tell you about a linebacker, but he can't tell you about a crossover. Sure, he's an athlete, but he play football. Just because he's an athlete don't mean he can tell you what basketball players know. Shit. Do you think a basketball player can tell you how to withstand a hit that this motherfucker couldn't put on you? I know the ins and outs of my game, but not all game. Being in the game period, you're gonna learn about all kind of shit. You're gonna learn how to think and face things that you're really not involved in. So for the record, I respect each and every aspect of the motherfucking game. But I pimp for mine. Now I'm using the skills that I learned about women as an instructor. And I'm lacing my students with that knowledge I learned. I'm showing them how to set and achieve goals. And most of all, I'm showing them how to hold and engage a person with their conversation. This has been a long growth period for me. Although it's the third in my life. During my second growth period, I was able to learn about, helping people. I've been, wanting to help my neighbors, my black neighbors especially. But I go fair with whoever my neighbor is. No race distinction involved. But if I win, I'm gonna this coming year. If I win, I'm thinking about opening something. I'm telling you, I'm gonna look into that community center that I was thinking about. I may even, get a home base for that Sidewalk University and have part of it, the community center. Now that's all ideas now, but I'm gonna go hard on it. SWU is too valuable to stop where it is now. I remember my mother used to always say, she should say things to keep us sharp. And she should say shit like, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. She would see us and ask us, what we was thinking, what we was doing. And whenever we answered nothing, she'd say that. And I didn't know then. Caller, what's up? You got a question for me? Go ahead. So what is your actual question? Why do some people need the course and some don't? It's really about your character. It's really about your initial character. If you're a person that accepts shit, all kind of different things, then you'll figure out a way to accept shit, with you not being aggressive. But if you're a person that don't want to accept shit, and you're gonna find yourself needing to be aggressive. And what you do is as you grow up, you hone that particular part of your skill, the aggression part. And before you know it, if you sharp, you have the kind of attitude I had because that was me when I was coming up. Well, no, I take you. That's wrong. I did question myself a lot, especially about the women. But yeah, when I for track, I never was. I was fast as fuck, but I was never that motherfucker that would go to the Olympics. So I kind of lost interest in that, but that really made me want to be something. And I'm telling you, the rest is just my natural me, And when I did decide to be something, I decided to be in the streets. So I had to be aggressive, or else in the streets you're gonna get your hat brought to you. So I didn't want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a lot of people don't believe in themselves. They don't believe what they think. But if you really think about it, the average person tells themselves 75 to 85% lies, 85% of the time, telling themselves lies. So if you know you lying that much, how the fuck can you believe what you think? That's why it's so important to tell yourself the truth, so you can believe what you think. Well, if that's something you learned, you've been, doing good as far as that goes. Because a lot of people never learn that. All right, bro. Good shit. All right, bro. Be good. See, uh, my mom, she used to see us and check us. Not being mean or nothing, but she used to just check us, just ask us little shit, say little things. You know, I didn't, really know what she was doing, but I do now. That I'm, grown and shit. She was saying a person should always be thinking about ways of self improvement. Now, I'm in a perpetual state of improvement, of thought. And this, my friends, I'm telling you, is tiring. I don't think so much because of my mother's words, but, keeping my mind occupied does keep me out of the way of the police and, other different shit that can happen. So when it comes to my me time, it's really a time when I try not to think of any Sidewalk University stuff or what I need to implement or none of that. I try not to think of none of this shit. But if you really think about it, that's why I don't really get much me time because it's damn near impossible for me to stop thinking about what I need to do. So, I'm always thinking about something. And I still come up short. Most people would say, "Ain't that a bitch?" You know what I think? No, it's not a bitch. It's life. And I'm living mine my way with all the ups and downs that it has to offer until they throw the last shovel of fucking dirt on my ass. You know, I'm back dealing with Facebook, but not a lot like I used to. I'm dealing with it more as Professor Dixon uh, than Rosebud. But what I'm saying is, I'm just thinking so differently. I'm sure, I won't have the time nor do I even want to engage in the shit I was doing before. Facebook did one thing for me, and that was help me, learn how to apply my wear online. Now, I've learned when you step off into the motherfucking any part of this game, you better be down. And if you are, when you're done, you'll have earned your crown. It's an ongoing battle, and the accolades are many. But the whole idea is that you should have plenty when it's all said and done. Think about it. When it's all said and done, how do you think you'll feel? There's people I know who didn't make the right turns in the game, and they remember this happened that with malice. Just like I know people pimps and hoes that made all the right turns, and they treasure, you know, all the memories they got. I think it's fair to say memories are pretty far off of most of you guys. So just don't forget along the way, they don't have to be pleasant memories. You all will one day have memories that's going to help you live the rest of your life, and I hope you don't grow old gracefully. But what I'm saying is, if you keep playing and you're not really down, you're gonna get burned. And you're gonna be one of the ones that have really negative things to say about the life. You're gonna be like many pimps and hoes I know who are mad at the world. Because this Alabama ain't no goddamn joke. People think it is a joke, but that's why when you dream, you should dream, and when you dream, you should dream big. If you don't simply dream and stop, but you try to achieve that dream, they become goals. And once they become goals, you strive to do that like I did. I strove to become great in the arena where most of the motherfucking participants, fail to get great in. This doesn't make me better than you or anybody else. I don't even want to be better than anybody else. I just want to be looked upon as a person with a hell of a lot of tenacity. I want to be remembered as a man who chased his vision, caught it, and did hella shit for men with it. I have that stick to itness that I need. It's called tenacity. That's a word that's not really used that often in our conversation because it's not an everyday word, tenacity. Good game for any man is priceless. And you want to know what's more valuable than that? Knowing how to use this abracadabra in the correct way. Young men who have studied this abracadabra with me are all doing the one thing that they deemed impossible. No, they're not copying me. And no, they're not letting me, talking into being pimps. They're finally being themselves. And they're out there in the mix being who they are. They're not pretending. They are being themselves and enjoying themselves. The same streets that you say are so dangerous, which they are, but the real motherfuckers don't sweat that kind of little shit. They go out there and get more game with the little game I gave them. I can only tell you how to drive. You still got to get in there and start the car up and put it in gear and go somewhere. You got to navigate the roads. Same with this fucking game that y'all playing with. You cannot tell any of these motherfuckers HD the Great, Boss Hall, or Quentin, or Young Ramsey the Pete, Brooklyn Shouting, Jonathan Gentry, Rashedi Jones, Al Franklin, or Broderick Wright. You can't tell any of them motherfuckers that I blessed with this game. You can't tell them the shit or the bullshit, scary ass shit you guys be telling each other. Once again, I'm rededicating myself to my show. And I'm rededicating my show to men. I said it before and I'm going to say it again many times. I deal with all men who have a desire to do this shit correctly. I know I do. It's one thing in my life that I did that I'm not as proud of. As the rest of my deeds, I was part of what ultimately was, a big part of the undoing of this goddamn Abracadabra Q. It was not any of our intentions, nor was it the producer's intentions. But American Pimp is directly responsible for the influx of so many unqualified motherfuckers getting in the game. You can go back to all the movies about the game, the Mac, all of them about pimps, but you didn't see no influx of undesirable motherfuckers getting in the game. That was because, Goldie and the Mac had ups and downs, and all the other movies had the motherfucking, put emphasis on the dangers and shit involved with the pimp game. American Pimp showed nothing but success. That's all it showed. Dre went to jail, but that didn't really show the negative side of the game. Now, don't get me wrong, jail is negative no matter how you look at it. But we all shine so brightly in American Pimp, and none of us really spoke of the pitfalls that's in the game. So it was like inviting all those scary ass motherfuckers that's in the game now, inviting them in. That's a big reason I kicked this Abracadabra as raw as I do. If I would have held close, to the tradition of not telling anybody about this motherfucking game, it wouldn't be this bad. Almost 1 billion people saw that motherfucking film. Do any of you know that film played for 10 years straight? From 98 to 2009, it was on every day on some channel. It exposed the luxuries I and all who are truly about this Abracadabra, what we earned. And we made it look so attractive until unqualified fools wanted in. And the real culprit is this crack cocaine. Because if so many pimps wouldn't have been taken out of the game behind that crack, they would have been on the scene to run those fakes off the blades. And would have preserved our fucking game. American Pimp and crack killed our lifestyle. Now, when you think of shit and don't have the answers at that moment, it becomes a concern. But after it becomes a concern and you don't have ways to handle it, it becomes a problem. See, that's how most of you deal with shit that you think of. You wait until it becomes a problem, then you want to move on it. Now that all the pretendos are a motherfucking problem, you're going to look into it by Googling solutions. I wonder if you paid attention to the statement I made about real sands. Because real sands, from the streets, they've been taken and abused. I heard a song saying pretty is what pretty does. Then he went on to say why she would always be pretty to him. Pretty is what pretty does has nothing to do with looks. It has to do with the dedication to this motherfucking game you have, especially when you have more than one woman, and some of them are cuter than the others. Pretty is what pretty does mean beauty has no value unless proven otherwise. Because if the average woman does this, then this pretty bitch got to do 2 or 3 times as much. Otherwise, the most often way that statement was used was in a motherfucker defending the fact that he knows just because a broad is fine does not mean she's going to be a hell of a woman. By the same token, a big bitch, that ain't that cute, she can be the best woman you ever had. So, a pretty bitch giving you a lot of problems is as ugly as they come. And the big old bitch that's not that attractive can be the best bitch you ever had. Sayings are ways for a group of people to understand something only they can understand. Because sayings are not meant to be used with no regards to the motherfucking meanings. What the women who claim to be about it, what they're missing today are the goals of being with a top flight motherfucker like me or Shantae. They ain't, out to be with no top flight man, and they ain't trying to represent him in public. In my day, if a woman thought she had a chance to get with a top flight motherfucker, she stood out to be seen. She let the nigga see she was down and dirty, and when the nigga got at her, she chose. And if you don't, give her this idolized symbol of a capable man to chase after, She gonna lose her interest in showing her wares off. She gonna continue to come to the club and parties and shit. But all that, that's all. That's probably all she gonna do because she's missing what drives her. A real motherfucking man. All she sees today are motherfuckers playing dress up and not even dressing up right. She gets to see firsthand how little the so-called motherfucking men of today, believe in being a real man. You guys today blast all over the social media how much you believe in rapping. Not only do you not care or even know, when a real woman sees that shit, she sees the nigga saying that shit as front because he be asking a real woman to break bread with him. That shit is demoralizing to a motherfucking woman considering being down. What's she gonna be down for? Some nigga who ain't even sure enough to go for what he know in one field? Some nigga want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none? What makes a motherfucking woman even want to be down is the men in her life. Today you got very few women because there are very few men. In our day, 2 plus 2 always equaled 4. You guys today will never be like the motherfuckers you idolize until you have more faith in the Abaddon or more faith in being a man. I'm not talking to all of you out there, not every fucking one of you. There's a few out there that's, cool and shit. But even those of you that's out there, after you hear this shit, you know I ain't talking to you, but you should get tired of hearing this fucking shit and do what we did. We used to smash them pretenders because we knew what they would do. They wasn't gonna do nothing but fuck the game up and get it like it is now, damn near. Recently, a friend of mine asked me why it's so important for a pimp to stay dressed. That question is easily answered. But if you dig deeper and think critically about what the question is actually asking, it's deep. Alpha men are not ordinarily thinking men. Yeah, pussy excites us, but not as much as looking in the mirror and seeing a budding motherfucker looking back at him. We eat food, but as often as possible, we like to rub elbows with the elite. So for various reasons, you could say he dresses to the T, but there's only one real reason any motherfucker dressed to the T, and that's because he's an alpha motherfucker to himself. If you consider yourself a true alpha motherfucker, you might want whatever to be lazy, but you can't because when you go out, you got to look the part as well as being perceived as the real deal when people speak with you. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be suited and booted every day, but it do mean you need to be dressed every motherfucking day. And if you don't dress, you don't want people to see you and be in awe of what you represent. You see, the biggest thing to a real alpha man is the recognition he gets from his hard work and his accomplishment of becoming real. Once he perceives himself as a real alpha man, he will not allow anyone to see him any differently. Hey, I'm gone.